people start to realize our differences aren't as big as they seem.
I couldn't really understand the magnitude of what was going on.
I know a lot of people were affected.
You know, it's still that divide.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Our City, Our Voice.
You look a lot different at it.
Everybody was kind of spinning about what it was and what was happening.
Everything's changed.
Everything's changed. Celebrating Hispanic Heritage is brought to you by Eskenazi Health.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage. I'm Phil Sanchez.
And I'm Camila Fernandez. From September 15th to October 15th, we join the nation in celebrating Hispanic heritage with powerful stories that reflect the impact Hispanic people have throughout our community.
It's been a busy and fun month. Tonight, we highlight local Hispanic artists, business owners, community leaders, and adventurers that are making a positive impact in our community.
Absolutely, Phil, and we'll introduce you to the drivers of Scrappers Racing and find out how this family of racers find success on and off the track.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. We'll also hear how a medical doctor from Honduras is serving her community one generation at a time.
And we discover a local welding group that is breaking barriers for Latina women in a traditionally male-dominated industry.
And how a local school is able to keep the tradition of making homemade tamales alive.
And you know, all month long, Indianapolis has been celebrating the culture and history of the Hispanic community, those with roots in Spain and Latin America. That includes roughly 20 Spanish-speaking nations.
Yeah, and Camila, you've had a first-hand look at all of this. You've emceed a lot of events. Tell us a little bit about the last month, if you can.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, Phil, Dia Latino de Lawrence and Latino Heritage Celebration in Indianapolis, they were absolutely incredible events. I'm so thankful I got the chance to MC these events. And it was a chance to celebrate the different cultures of Latin America and, of course, a bit of my Colombian heritage.
Yes. Yeah, and you did a great job. And we also saw that video of you wearing that beautiful dress. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Phil. Well, lucky enough, I have an incredible family in Colombia, specifically Barranquilla, Colombia, which is part of the Caribbean region of Colombia. And so the colors were, of course, of the Colombian flag, and that was a real exciting moment for me.
Ah, it was so nice.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, so let's get started. When we come back, we visit with NHRA racing champion Mike Salinas and his daughters who make racing a family business.
Welcome back to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage.
Yeah, so Scrappers Racing, led by NHRA top fuel dragster Mike Salinas, is a team of two generations of drag racers who competed in 4 individual categories.
Wow, and for these champions of track, racing is the family business.
We were the kids back in the 60s, picking up scrap metal and driving around in those little pickup trucks, picking up scrap metal and doing that type of work. But I just had a bigger vision of you start there, but doesn't mean you have to stay there. And we have this thing that in our family that we're on the move. So we've been moving ever since, and we still can't stop today. To be honest with you, we're always looking to expand, grow different areas, different industries too. So just keep on moving. The girls would go to school. They were really young. They would go to school, and all their friends got to go have play dates and get ready for vacations, and they came to work. So we used the same method that my family used for me, and they went to work, and they would work Saturdays and Sundays and at the garbage dump. And I didn't think it was very fair for me to be racing and them to sit watching me and hanging out. And so we took them out there for a little race, and they loved it. Some of them stuck and some of them didn't. The other ones went towards the business side, and some of them went towards the racing side, the business side of racing. So, but they all found their way. A couple of them are kind of crazy and they love this stuff, and they probably get that from their mom, So it's kind of nice. I don't think the sport is as fun without having the family there for me. When people walk up to me and say, well, you built something great, they never take into consideration that my daughters were in playpens, and then they were working the window, and then my wife was there. So it wasn't only me, it was all of us as a group, a collaborative group. And as long as you think like that and still stay like that, it'll be good. In one form or fashion, they're all running part of the businesses. And it's a nice thing to watch them grow and watch them, buy homes and be successful and be great productive citizens.
Yeah, so I started junior drag racing, like my dad said, with my younger sisters, and we grew up just watching him do this, and then it became something where we got to become a part of it. And then as we got older and we're starting to age out of junior drag racing, that's kind of where we got to decide, like, is this something we really want to do? And I knew, like, by the time I was in my senior year of high school, I was looking at colleges trying anything that was close to a racetrack, and I was very fortunate that my parents were like, focus on school first, and drag racing will always be there. And so I was very fortunate enough to be able to go to college and finish college. And then after college, I still realized that I had this yearning to just be around drag racing, and so that's when I decided to go work on my dad's team, and I just said, I just want to be a part of this any way possible. And so I started working in the office. After I was working on his car for 2 years, he kind of asked me, he's like, do you actually want to get in the driver's seat and feel what I'm feeling? And I said, yeah, of course, and so I was really grateful that my parents gave me the opportunity, and my whole family really helped to make it possible so that I can start racing on my own. And so we were able to get myself a whole team and a crew, and I started racing in Top Alcohol Dragster, and I've been racing that for about 4 years now. And it's just been such an incredible experience being able to, feel everything that, I remember working on in the back, and knowing now that I'm driving that. And so just recently, I think about a week ago, I've been officially licensed in Top Fuel, which is the same class that my dad's competing in. They call it the king of the sport, and just to be able to think about where I started, as a little kid, and now looking back all these years to realize that I've, made it into a class. I haven't even began racing, but just to be able to get the license, and be part of that class where it's, those are my heroes. Those are the people I looked up to, and they were these bigger than life people, and now I just get to be part of it for now. And that's, for me, is really exciting.
I feel like when I think about when I got into racing, I feel like it's just always been in my life. I was very lucky. It's always been in our family. I remember spending all of our weekends at the racetrack, finishing all our homework on Fridays as fast as we can so we could go spend Saturday, Sunday at the track with our mom and dad. I have a lot of really great memories. I'm very lucky. That's where I grew up at, and I wouldn't change any of it. So I'm definitely more of a two-wheels gal. As much as I love cars, I always love motorcycles. My father comes from a big motorcycle family. His mother actually rode motorcycles as well. And there was always this photo of her, they called her Cha-Cha. She rode this amazing bike, and I remember growing up looking at this photo thinking, my gosh, she is the coolest woman I've ever seen. She had the leather jacket, the boots, all of it. And it was just an inspiration for myself, and I just love the adrenaline of it. I love the excitement, the danger, the no seatbelts. For me, that's a comforting thing, which a lot of people can't get their head around, and that's kind of how I knew that I was going to be a bike person. Every chance that my sisters and I get to go out there and show that, it's not always going to be this easy journey, but I mean, that's life. But, you fall down, you get back up. And, that's been our message from the beginning of when we came out here. It's that this isn't easy, it's tough, but that's life. But just keep pushing, and that if we can do it, you can do it also.
When Celebrating Hispanic Heritage returns, Hernan Gutierrez introduces us to a new tradition started this year in the Indiana Historical Society.
And later we meet a doctor from Honduras who uses her skills and heart to serve her community. That and more when we return.
And welcome back to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage.
The first annual Hoosier Latino celebration at the Indiana Historical Society was created to tell the story of Latinos around the state.
News 8's Hernan Gutierrez brings us this story tonight.
You don't hear a lot about Mexican history in places like the Midwest.
Walk into Eli Lilly Hall at the Indiana Historical Society and you'll notice a giant piñata-like art exhibit titled El Popular, honoring some of the first Mexican entrepreneurs who started off making chocolate and other Mexican foods in the state. Artist Justin Favela says he drew inspiration from the culture's Catholic roots and a business of the same name founded in East Chicago.
There was also Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, which was not only a Catholic church, church, but was also a community meeting space where people, who came all the way from Mexico felt a little, felt that they could have a little piece of home there.
It's the featured installation for the first ever Hoosier Latino celebration at IHS. President and CEO Jody Blankenship says for years the museum has collected similar stories of Hispanics migrating to Northwest Indiana and Indianapolis for a myriad of reasons.
Their families have flourished here. They've built strong communities. They've built strong businesses, and it's impacted all of us.
The program will highlight the culture through art, food, clothes, music, discussions, and more. Blankenship says Latino stories are Indiana stories.
I just hope people will come down here and start to hear some of those and identify with them and find their own place here in Indiana.
For Favela, it's great to see representation in places that historically haven't reflected his own experiences.
And for a Latino or a Mexican to walk into this space and see something that is so specifically their culture, I hope it brings them a little bit of joy.
When Celebrating Hispanic Heritage returns, we meet a doctor from Honduras who uses her love of family medicine to help her community.
And later, find out how the Latina Welders Guild is helping Latina women find exciting new careers. We will be right back.
Welcome back to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage.
Dr. Diane Morales is a medical doctor from Honduras who made the journey to Indiana to practice family medicine.
Her hard work and dedication are now paying off for the local Hispanic community she serves.
Originally, I'm from Honduras, which is in the heart of Central America. And then I did my medical career over there. I graduated from Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Honduras and then moved to United States for medical residency for family medicine here over at U. I have a very close family. We all are very hard workers, and growing up with my family was the best experience. I have dedicated parents, and I have two amazing sisters that are also here in the United States. Yeah, so I get to know Indiana University doctors that went doing medical brigades over there in Honduras, and that's how I got to know family medicine. Family medicine is not existent as a residency in Honduras, and I just got in love with what they do and what kind of the scope of practice, because we see all ages of life. So we basically, here in the United States, I was able to do prenatal care to the elderly population, which is very nice and unique opportunity. So coming to the United States was very hard. It's a long process, a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. But it was worth it, and I was invited to the residency program at Indiana University, so I came here and did my training, and then after graduation I got to know Eskenazi Health, which matches my passion, which is serving the underserved population community, and that's where I am since 10 years ago. Back in Honduras, like I said, I was working with very underserved population, and also I was a teaching doctor there. I was able to teach other students, and here in US also I'm also a teacher, so I'm also a faculty associate from Indiana University, so I do teach second and third year medical students, and I do have residents working here in Eskenazi. So I do all the spectrum of family medicine plus teaching, which is very nice. Serving the community is one of the things that I enjoy the most. In family medicine, what is very nice and I think is unique from other specialties is that you can see one newborn and then you will see a grandpa, and then it's just like jumping from age to age. I think it's amazing. And just having the, smile of that person that was grateful to you because you treat them well and you give the care that they deserve. So just be mindful about we are also here to serve. And I think as a doctor, we are called to do, so it's just that. It's very important that you help others to grow, others help you, and I feel like giving back is very important. Teaching is one of my passions, and I think being a doctor, you teach your patients too, so it's very natural for me. But I also love being with the students and helping them grow in what they're like looking for, whatever specialty they like, and then decide at the end. But I feel like it's something that is very valuable. I really admire the teachers in general. I'm very proud to represent the Hispanic population, female Hispanic minority population. So this is a privilege, I feel like, and I feel humbled because of that. When I, like you were saying, 80% or more in Ashkenazi, my clinic are mostly Hispanic. So when they see me, that I connect with them, maybe the language barrier is not there anymore. They can see my face, the skin of color, they can actually see this is possible. And sometimes when they tell me, because I always ask to my well-child visits, where are you gonna be when you grow up? And if they say a doctor, I get so excited. It's like, yes, it's possible. You just have to do a hard work and be passionate about, be in love with what you want, and do it with all you have. And that's my recommendation.
When we come back, find out how the women of the Latinas Welding Guild are empowering women both through creativity and opportunities to find careers in a male-dominated industry.
That's coming up when Celebrating Hispanic Heritage returns. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage. The Latinas Welding Guild is breaking down traditional barriers in an industry where women generally are underrepresented.
Phil, that's right, and beating the odds in male-dominated industries like welding doesn't come easy. I recently spoke with members of the Latinas Welding Guild about how they are rising to the challenge.
We do obviously a lot of the technical training, but honestly what we do mostly is build community.
They're a bright spark in the world of welding. According to the American Welding Society, about 5% of welders are women. But for the Latinas Welding Guild in Indianapolis, the sky is the limit.
Women of color make an even smaller percentage of that. So having a training facility and a school ran by Latino women, empowering like folks that look like us and diverse welders to get into the trade is really unique.
Consuelo Lockhart leads the organization. Since 2017, they've offered new career opportunities for marginalized communities. This month, the group opened a new facility on the city's west side, adding new programs. Jessica Hernandez is the organization's deputy director.
We've actually recently started our youth programming, so we're now able to serve incoming 6th through 12th graders who want to explore this as a career, and it's a great way for them to test out what welding looks like and giving them opportunities to learn and grow.
She will now help lead Project Azul, a nonprofit that focuses on skills training, workforce coaching, and job placement.
So now with more programming, that means that folks are really able to beef up their resumes and not just get a job, but now move into careers that are really fulfilling and meaningful to them.
Hernandez says they're hopeful these new programs will torch the ceiling for women welders.
Our goal is in the next 10 years, we're going to have international programming. Like our goal is to open up a trade school, not just all over the United States, but in Guatemala and in Mexico and in other countries that could really use our programs and services.
Make no mistake, in most of the celebrations this month, food plays a very important role.
When we come back, we'll see how a group of volunteers are keeping the tradition of homemade tamales alive for some future generations. Welcome back to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage. From artists to doctors, racers, and welders, we've seen how members of the Hispanic community are realizing their dreams and making a difference in our community.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic show. We have one more story to share about a group of women making sure that the tradition of homemade tamales is not forgotten.
Multicultural reporter Katira Winfrey met some kids at the Vision Academy who had a chance to try out this traditional Mexican dish, and for some, it was their first time.
Trying out something new sometimes takes a bit of bravery, and it may be even a bit confusing, but taking a bite is worth the try.
Probably for many of our kiddos, this is the first time that they're getting to eat tamales.
Vision Academy youngsters got an opportunity to taste test Mexican tamales. Ava Roscoe Clara is one of the volunteer Rise Indie moms who put in the work to get it done. She's been making tamales her entire life, first under the guidance of her mom and grandmother.
It's very exciting to share something that's run down in my family to everyone here, and share that and also show it to my children and make sure they practice it and don't forget the tradition.
A day before passing out the finished dish, moms gathered in a small kitchen, creating a sort of cultural assembly line, taking the chicken, corn flour, husks, and turning it into a meal.
I just want to appreciate everyone for being there, because there were people from Mexico, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, and the United States. So I appreciate everyone.
Orozco Clara is now passing on the knowledge in her own kitchen to people familiar with this type of cooking and those trying something new, and sharing it with all of them.
Have this experience now where they get to experience cultures at this age is important, because we all know as you move on in life and you get to college, those experiences become bigger. So having that exposure now will get them set up for success.
This type of exposure is what Vision Academy leaders hope for its student body, showing them different cultures while showing the power of collaboration and community.
Having the opportunity for us to be here and expose our kiddos to this experience, it's a big thing.
And thank you for helping us celebrate Hispanic Heritage tonight on Wish TV. We hope you've enjoyed the journey.
If you would like to see more of our Celebrating Hispanic Heritage coverage, visit our website at wishtv.com.
Discover more at wishtv.com. And when you follow Wish TV on Facebook, check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.